Good morning, Akwaba, and welcome to the fourth and final of our recipes from Ghana. Now, I mentioned in my introductory video at the beginning of the month my hero of Ghana cooking, Zoe Ajonyo, and her book Zoe's Ghana Kitchen. Well, this recipe is very much inspired by one of the recipes in her cookery book, and it uses two of my absolute favourite Ghanaian ingredients, bananas and ginger, because it's very much a Ghanaian version of banana cake. So what do we need? Well, flour, plain flour, some brown sugar, butter, some milk, some baking powder, also some sodium bicarbonate. I use both. The ginger, some mixed spice, a little vanilla essence, some eggs, and of course some bananas. So let's have a quick equipment check and then get on with the preparation. So the equipment we need today is a fork, a jug, a mixing bowl, a wooden spoon, a loaf tin, some baking paper and some scissors. So finally, after 10 months, we found a recipe which doesn't need a knife or a chopping board. All we're doing today really is melting and mushing. So my butter is already on the hob. I'm just melting that gently and then putting it aside to cool. Got my flour in the bowl here, and I'm going to add my baking powder, my bicarbonate of soda, my ginger and my mixed spice. And I'm going to add my sugar and give them a good mix around so that everything's spread out evenly in the mixture. And then we get our eggs, 3 eggs, to which we add our milk and also a dash of vanilla essence, and beat that around for a couple of minutes just to break up the eggs and incorporate everything. That's fine. And now, just with a fork, I'm going to mush my ripe bananas down into a pulp. So in Zoe's recipe, she uses plantains. They have to be very ripe plantains, mind, but something we can't get here. So I'm using banana, and as a result, she also uses honey as her sweetener. Now, bananas are so sweet already, that's why I'm using sugar rather than honey. So that's my slight take on her version, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. So check on the ingredients and we'll make the final batter mixture. Our ingredients today are 3 eggs, 120 milliliters of milk, 3 or 4 ripe bananas mashed, 150 grams of butter melted, a teaspoon of vanilla essence, 150 grams of brown sugar, 240 grams of soft flour, a tablespoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of ginger powder and a teaspoon of mixed spices. Okay, so we've got our dry ingredients there. We add our melted butter. We add our eggs and milk and vanilla essence. And we add our mushed up banana. And all we do now is stir. Just mix it all around. Make sure those bananas are well spread out through the mix. And there you can see it's almost there, just a bit more flour to blend in. And that's it. That's about the consistency of a very thick batter. And here I've got my greased, lined baking loaf tin. And I'm just going to put the mixture in. Not all of it into this tin because it's probably not quite big enough. So there you can see I've put it about 2/3 of the way up, That should be fine. Pop that into an oven now at about 180 degrees for 45 minutes, and we should have perfect Ghanaian banana cake. Enjoy.
Standing by the fruit store on the corner, once I heard a customer complain, you never seem to show